Welcome to the NAWBO installation ceremony. Thank you all for coming. It's so exciting. I'm Robin Hatcher. If you don't know me, I'm a member of NAWBO, and I'm so excited that Elizabeth asked me to MC this tonight because I love NAWBO and I love what it stands for. And I love the fact that we women have this opportunity to really find ways to pivot our businesses, to expand our businesses. And I have to tell you, I belong to a lot of organizations, a lot of associations. I think that NAWBO was one of the first associations and organizations to pivot when this pandemic started. They started with all of these online meetings and online offerings and networking meetings. Almost every day, NAWBO had something for its members to take part of. And it was a brilliant thing to do, to be the first and to help people pivot by showing them how they pivoted themselves. So huge round of applause. Let's get some total exclamation points for NAWBO for being such a great pivoter, because we need this in our lives right now. We need it, and we have pivoted from other sources sometimes, and we may need to pivot again. So welcome everybody for being here. So glad you're here. And I get the very, very great privilege of introducing our guest of honor, who just happens to be the CEO of NAWBO National, Jen Earl. So let me tell you a little bit about Jen. Jen has been the CEO of NAWBO since July 2016. So I'm counting that's 4 years, and she's still going strong. Prior to joining NAWBO, she was the co-founder of a successful commercial music production company, which sounds really cool, called Element Music and Sound Design. And she launched Savvy Ops, which is a consulting group that provides virtual operational support to nonprofit organizations. So vital, so important. NAWBO has just celebrated their 45th birthday under Jen's leadership, and we're all so excited to see where Jen is going to take us next. So without any further ado, I would like to turn this over to Jen Earl.
Thank you.
Exclamation points, give her some applause.
Thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me to pop in tonight, Elizabeth, and the New York City board. And also, I mean, congratulations on your guys' pivot. I was just so impressed immediately. New York City was like meeting the needs of their membership, and we could not have been more proud. Creating virtual events is kind of tricky. And I know firsthand from experience that it's been kind of a challenge. So just kudos to you guys for doing it so seamlessly and beautifully. I'd also like to do a shout out to all of our chapter leaders, past, present, and future. We know you work so tirelessly on behalf of NAWBO, and we are better because of you. Thank you to all of the NAWBO NYC presidents. Elizabeth, for your service over the past couple of years and prior. And also Maisha, Sophie, Lara, all of the other New York City presidents that have come before you. Thank you all for your service. You have done an exceptional job of carrying the mission of NAWBO forward. One of my favorite quotes that always rings true for me is this: people still have a fundamental need to belong to something they can feel proud of. And I feel like that for me, NAWBO makes me feel so proud. It was the very first organization. And I'm going to share, for women business owners, I'm going to share a little bit about how it first got started with two of our founders in just a quick second. But I also want to say how proud I am of the New York City chapter. I think it was right around the time, it was before I stepped into the CEO role. And New York really has done an amazing job at really unrelentlessly driving to keep the women business community connected in New York City. And I just have seen you guys flourish so much, and it just makes me feel so proud of all of the work that you have all done coming together to make that happen. So in celebrating our 45 years, I feel like it's just so crucial to go back to the very beginning. Dottie Gandy and Denise Kavanaugh just wanted to print brochures for their consulting business, Cook Kavanaugh. And there were so many paper options, and although it seemed so simple, they had no idea what to choose, and they didn't know who to ask. At this time in the early 70s, women convening to discuss business resources and tools was unheard of. And since women couldn't belong to the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary, etc., one of the JCs told Dottie that they could join as honorary JSETs, or honorary wives, which of course they declined. They called on a few women they knew as small business owners and asked them to meet with them to strategize on how they could support each other to get the word out about their business. And they met in the back room of their offices in Washington, D.C. And that's where it all began. You can actually Google it. It's 1816 Jefferson Place, which is where NAWBO originated for the very first few meetings. I thought that was super cool. NAWBO was incorporated in 1975 and soon after became one of the top women's business organizations in the country. They had garnered so much momentum and vibrancy and were making so much noise, the policymakers started to hear their mission. Our very first NAWBO national president, Susan Hager, coined the phrase, get a seat at the table or build your own table and be sure to invite other women. And they definitely made sure they had a seat. NAWBO members made outreach to politicians and began to share the struggle and gave testimonials on the barriers facing women business owners. There were still a number of inequalities in the 1970s, including access to capital. These women couldn't even get a business loan without a male signer. A NAWBO member tells the story that as a divorced woman, she had to get her 17-year-old son to co-sign in order to get a loan. It took a decade for that change to be made. NAWBO members began traveling around the country, meeting with other groups of women business owners to understand their needs, wants, and challenges. Of course, the access to capital was the #1 issue. NAWBO had made a point to elect members from each state to be delegates in the 1986 White House Small Business Conference. They were working very hard to get access to capital as a top issue at the conference, and indeed they did succeed. But the newly released annual State of Small Business Report, which was published by the US Small Business Administration, didn't mention women or minority entrepreneurs. So Jillian Rudd, a past national president, held a press conference on the steps of the Capitol to make it be known the report had neglected a growing force and that NAWBO had the numbers to prove it. This resulted in what you all know of as HR 5050, or otherwise known as the Women's Business Ownership Act of 1988. We've come a long way since the backroom meetings in Washington, D.C., and yet we have so much to do. The constant in this politically, racially, and medically complicated world we call home. We are the compass that leads to positive and inclusive change. More than ever, we need to listen, communicate, and trailblaze in the footsteps of our members and past leaders. Our voices are being heard. Our engagement is making a difference. NAWBO New York City, you have been and will continue to be a part of the solution. Congratulations on being the compass that equitably attracts our members, leaders, partners, and legislators. Thank you for being a leadership of volunteers who serves from the heart. Special thanks to the 2019-20 Board of Directors. We wouldn't be the organization we are without your contributions. And special welcome to the 2020-2021 New York City Board of Directors. NAWBO is lucky to have you all step up and welcomes you to the leadership of NAWBO Nation. We are a sisterhood that unites women in business to work together to do something powerful and much greater than any of us could ever accomplish alone. I am continuously inspired by our membership, and especially during these uncertain times, their focus on the good of humanity, the focus on things that are the most important. And I think the future of business will only be the better for it. I end by reciting one of NAWBO's favorite Maya Angelou quotes, which aligns with our NAWBO community. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. As leaders, especially during this very stressful time, this is crucial to remember. Thank you again, Elizabeth, for having me. Congratulations, ladies. Super proud to be serving with you. And happy 45th birthday, NAWBO.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's so fabulous. And so, how's everybody feeling? How is this meeting so far making you feel? Because yes, we will forget what you say, we'll forget all of that, but hopefully you'll be left with feeling empowered and feeling motivated to continue on your journey. And next up, I am going to introduce you to your, she needs no introduction, your 2019-2020 board president. Elizabeth and I have been hanging around networking groups together for probably about 5 years. So I'm so proud and so impressed that she's gone on to become president of this great organization and all the work that she's done this year and in the coming years. So let's welcome, with a lot of exclamation points applause, our current president, Elizabeth Foster.
Thank you, Robin, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for being with us tonight. It's great to actually work with you, and this is a really exciting a day for me in so many ways. And Jen, I just really want to thank you so much for just attending our event. It means so much to me personally and to our chapter to have you here. You're such an inspiration for me and for so many women in business, and it's just wonderful just to have you here. And interestingly enough, whilst I kind of mourn a little bit the fact that we weren't able to meet in person this year, because obviously that would have been way more fun in a way, but you might not have been able to join us. So I'm grateful that you're here and that you're with us. I also want to thank our outgoing board. They've actually been a really incredible team, and together we've worked tirelessly together to really just to really change everything that was happening, and to really stay on track, and to bring some good changes that are into our organization. And we've actually there are many people that are, and in fact, we've actually done, such a good job of our board that actually a lot of our board are actually going to be staying on with us for another year, which is brilliant news. I'm so excited. Yeah, we've actually accomplished a lot this year, and we've actually grown our membership, which is quite interesting compared to the kind of the year that we've had. And in fact, one of our main wins was that we actually tied first for the membership drive out of 60 other chapters. So us and Phoenix. So go New Yorkers, we're a good team together. And there's a whole list of other long achievements that we've done over this year. But I really want to get to welcoming in the new board. I think that's really special. And that's really what we're here to do. But before I do that, I'd just especially like to thank our outgoing VP of Governance, Melanie Cunningham, and also our VP of Communications, Didem Artuk. So just specifically, Melanie, I really want to, we met at one of our networking breakfasts, and I remember that day very clearly because I looked across the table and I saw you, and I immediately recognized your talent and your drive that you had and the way that you held yourself in that room. And it was your first event, and you made such an impression on the other women at the table, but you also made a huge impression on me. And so I saw that you'd be a great addition to our board, and you really proved yourself time and time again, and you've actually offered to stay and help us update our bylaws. So thank you, Melanie. It's been a great honor to have you with us, and I appreciate all that you've done. And now, Didem. Didem and I actually met at the UN with a group of Turkish women business owners. So sometimes New York is a spotlight for other organizations around the world, and they want to come in and they want to hang out with us. And there was a really fantastic group of Turkish women, and there was a meeting at the UN, and we were invited to go along. And when I met Didem, we just clicked. We just automatically clicked, and I recognized her smartness, and I also knew that she would just be a great member of our team, and again, she really proved to be that. She's helped us be seen by hundreds, probably thousands of other women business owners by giving an amazing update to our newsletter, and brought it into the 21st century and made it fantastic and sparkly, and added gifts and all sorts of exciting things in there. You introduced a lot more social media to our organization. So we're now on Instagram, people. So if you're out there following, make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and obviously Facebook and LinkedIn. So I just want to thank you, Didem, for all the hard work that you have done and the support that you've given us. And we are wishing you the best of luck, because I know that you're moving away. So we wish you the best of luck for that. And I'm sure you'll be fabulous wherever you go. So now I want to introduce you to our new board. And so we are going to be going through the board. Obviously, yep, there's me. That's who I am. We have Ronette Riley. Ronette is our director at large. She has a huge amount of experience on boards, and so she is really supporting us. And of course, she's a a woman, a well-established businesswoman that has got a multi-million-dollar business, so she knows her way around business. Then we have Trisha Tate. Trisha is an outsourced CFO. She's our money girl, who makes everything, the money person that makes us all just keeps us all on our tracks with regards to our budget, but also really supports us in talking money. And she certainly knows her way around. Then we have Sharon Richter. Sharon is our secretary, our board secretary, and she also is a business strategist and a phenomenal business coach. She's ex-Wall Street, so she knows her way around businesses as well. Then we have Nikki Manis. She is our VP Governance. She's going to be taking the place of Melanie. So those two girls are going to be getting in touch and supporting one another. We're going to be, so governance is going to be a key part in what we're doing. Then we have Lindsay. Lindsay Myers is our new VP of Marketing and Communications. Lindsay has a PR firm, and she is knows her way around marketing and communications, that's for sure. Then we have Tanya Sterl. Tanya is our VP of Membership. She's staying on because she's done such an amazing job that we actually couldn't get rid of her. We wanted her to stay. We're like, you have to stay with us. So Tanya, thank you so much for staying with us. And then we have Beth Hernandez-Casey. This is the incredible lady that's put this event together and is the brains behind all of our events. So thank you, Beth. This is her day job and her non-day job because she's working with us. So thank you, Beth. Then we have Dina Farugia. Unfortunately, Dina can't be with us tonight. She's our VP of Programming. She's going to be in charge of mentoring and marketing. Then we have Cynthia Santiago Bourbon, and she is our VP of Diversity. We're very excited by Cynthia joining our board and know that diversity is a key aspect of NAWBO, both in the past and certainly going forward. Then we have Nancy Northrop is our VP of Alliances. Nancy has worked with many, lived in France and worked with a lot of other organizations, so she brings her expertise. Then we have Lena Stillman is our VP of Public Policy. Lena is a lawyer and specifically works with, lots of other things, but definitely also with immigration. Lena certainly knows her way around the law and is a great advocate for women's rights. So we're really welcoming Lena, thank you. Then we have Maisha Walker. Maisha is the immediate past president and has supported me in doing my job on this board. Thank you, Maisha, and thanks for another year. And then last but not least, we have Lara Kay, because nobody can, well, I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to try and pronounce. It's a challenging name. So we all call her lovingly Lara Kay. Lara is actually a past president from quite a few years ago, but we kind of call her our board or fairy godmother because she supports our chapter with knowing what happened then and what happens now. So that is the lineup for our board. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. What a beautiful board. Let's give everybody another round of applause here with our exclamation points. And why are these people doing this? Okay, so we have all this name. What do you expect? I have been on many boards. My first board was PTA president, so you know how stressful that is. And there's so much that goes into a board. And we really want to think about why you're doing this and what you can expect from your board. And all of this stuff that we talked about earlier, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. That pivot, it's a lot of work behind the scenes. It's like that swan. And so let's read from what NAWBO talks about of what we can expect from the board, what the board wants to promise, and I'm going to read it to you right now. The NAWBO New York City Board of Directors is charged with representing the best interest of NAWBO's membership and providing the chapter with the direction to fulfill its mission. You each are expected to set high standards of professional conduct and performance for yourself and for the organization. And you'll be looked to for guidance, leadership, and direction as you accept our members' trust and oversee NAWBO's activities. As the 2020-2021 National Association of Women's Business Owners Board of Directors for the NAWBO New York City chapter, you will be recognized, honored, and respected as persons of integrity, admired not only by your associates in NAWBO, but throughout the New York area. With these privileges come obligations. You are expected to provide leadership both by what you say and what you do for your chapter. You are to inspire, encourage, and guide your chapter into fruitful areas of activity by your creativity, word, and deed. As you do so, you should always be mindful of NAWBO's vision and mission. So thank you everyone for stepping up. And now we have the honor of being installed by our CEO, Jen Earl.
Thank you so much, ladies. What a privilege. All right, NAWBO New York City chapter board members, please raise your right hand and respond in unison to each oath of office with the words, I will. Will you pledge to support NAWBO's mission of propelling women entrepreneurs into economic, social, and political spheres of power worldwide while representing the interests and concerns of all women entrepreneurs?
I will.
I will.
Will you pledge your word of honor as a woman entrepreneur and as a member of NAWBO to faithfully uphold its bylaws and to always act in the best interest of the organization?
I will.
I will.
Will you pledge to commit the time and resources needed to execute the duties and responsibilities of your office as a member of the Board of Directors of the National Association of Women Business Owners New York City chapter?
I
I
will.
will.
I mean, I will.
Will you pledge to uphold the values of the organization, act in its best interest, execute on your responsibilities, and pursue NAWBO's mission, always with honesty, integrity, and to the best of your ability?
I will.
I will.
Congratulations, board members. And now I would like to swear in the new board president, Elizabeth Foster, for second term. Elizabeth, will you promise and pledge to execute the duties and responsibilities of chair of the National Association of Women Business Owners New York City chapter to the best of your ability, to uphold the organization's bylaws and always support NAWBO's mission of propelling women entrepreneurs into economic, social, and political spheres of power worldwide, and to lead the 2020-2021 NAWBO New York City Board of Directors with wisdom, honesty, and integrity?
I will.
And now it is with great pleasure that I present to you the 2020-2021 NAWBO New York City Board of Directors.
Now I know we can't see you because we're on webinar, but I'd love everybody to stand up because you know it's more energy anyway. So stand up and you can get away and just give yourselves and the board a rousing applause and yay and exclamation points. And if you can sing, please sing because I can't, but don't try me because I will, even though I can't. So great. So next we have what? The creed. Trisha's going to recite the creed and everyone else will follow along. Go, Trisha.
So, congratulations to all of my fellow outgoing and incoming board members. Ladies, I am going to recite the creed on our behalf, and hopefully on your end, you will recite the creed quietly to yourselves, amongst yourselves. The NAWBO Creed: we are the unified voice of women business owners. We equally represent all women business owners, regardless of size of the company, industry, or geographic location. We are a catalyst for women business owners to create significant impact in the world through supporting other WBOs, giving back in their communities, and advocating change in public policy. We inspire significant change as it relates to policy, equality, and society. We impact change for future generations of WBOs. We are an educational resource for WBOs. We seek to motivate and inspire our members towards exponential growth, heightened potential, and continuous innovation. We see all women business owners, not for who they are, but for who they can become. We are not afraid of failure, obstacles, and/or setbacks. We promote for the good of the organization and all women business owners, not the individual. We are the resource for women in entrepreneurship and women business owners. We create, educate, and grow leaders. We foster honor, ethics, and integrity. And we have now read the NAWBO Creed, and I just want to say also a shout out to our past treasurers that are also in the room. Thank you all. I will pass it over to Elizabeth Foster.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you for leading us in that. It's, I'm really honored to step up again into this position. It's a 2-year role, for those of you that don't know. So I've done 1 year, 1 year to go. It's been a very interesting time this past year. And 2020 has really become a year that none of us will ever forget. COVID has derailed everyone's plans in a way that no one could have foreseen or even budgeted for. And we've all been challenged. It's really kind of stopped us in our tracks and made us take a long, hard look at ourselves, at our businesses, and at our lives. And then, eclipsing all of our COVID concerns, came a long overdue tsunami for Black Lives Matter. And in its wake came global protests demanding that an entire world accept equality for Black and all minorities. NAWBO New York is a leading business development organization, and we stand up for all minorities in this wildly diverse city. And together with national and 60 other chapters across America, we're all deeply and firmly committed to diversity, to inclusion, and to advocacy for all. And looking to our future, we ask ourselves, what can we do to turn 2020 around? Many of us need to find out how to pivot and to recreate ourselves and our businesses and possibly even our lives in order for us to succeed. And NAWBO really wants to play a pivotal part in each and every one of you with regard to your businesses and supporting you. And we now have an amazing leadership team in place. I feel honored and privileged to be leading, but also just working with each and every one of them. They're amazing ladies that are each and every one of them are strong business owners, and we have the best of the best when it comes to the women on our board. This year, looking forward, we are going to be looking at diversity and what needs to happen and the steps that we can take both as part of New York, NAWBO New York, and as women business owners to support women of color and Black women in particular. We'll be looking at alliances and looking around the city at what we can create with regards to the other organizations. We've got great organizations right now with regard to New York Women in Business, NIWB. We have strong alliances there, but we're really looking at expanding that. We'll be looking at the programs that we have with regards to the mastermind program. So we have one mastermind program in place, and we're going to be looking at expanding that and offering different versions of that. We're also going to be bringing back our mentoring program because that in itself is such an important factor for each and every one of business owners. To really have somebody at our side just makes a huge difference. We'll be looking at advocacy because, as we know, as you heard Jen said earlier, NAWBO is based on advocacy. It's based on women and having equal rights, and that is so key. And every year we go to DC and we walk the hill and we knock on doors and we have conversations. Public policy, Lena's going to be working as public policy and going to be taking the charge for that. And there are so many more. Beth is going to be working on our events so that we can stay virtual like this for a while until we have to, and hopefully sooner rather than later we'll be able to meet in person. And we can, and then we can work with, sorry, kind of got a little, had a message pop up there. That's the way it works sometimes with our technology. So with regards to the, Beth is, taking our events and working with them. And we are hoping that we're going to be able to actually have in-person events quite soon. I also want to thank each and every one. So we have actually a number of committees that are actually working underneath the VPs. So we have membership, we have an amazing membership committee, we have marketing, and we have events, and we're looking for more women to step forward and support us. So if that's something that you would like to do, then please do that and step up and work with us. Because each and every one of this team play such an integral part of this organization and such a vital role, and we support one another, but actually we also support each and every one of you. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for board members for being here with me. I couldn't do this without you. It's to be here with you is such an honor, and I'm really looking forward to this year and know that actually we're stronger together. So thank you so much, everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. That was wonderful. And interestingly, we have Tanya is on, she has something to say?
Yes, there's one more thing, Robin.
Yes, go.
Echoing what Elizabeth said, again, Tanya Stroh, VP of Membership, so proud and excited and happy to go forward another year with this amazing new board. And Elizabeth had mentioned committee members, so I just wanted to give a shout out to my committee members who have done such an amazing job this last year. The NAWBO NYC chapter actually won the spring membership drive. We tied for first place. And it took a team, it took the entire board, and it took my committee members. So shout out to Casey and Gordon, Paula Oleska, and Fabriana Farley. And to Elizabeth's point, get involved, everyone on the call, everyone, all of our new members, our NAWBO members. It's a great way to get involved, volunteer on a committee. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Tonya. Yes, get involved. There's the thing about being a member of anything that I've known since I've been in associations for a long time is you get what you put into it. And it's very difficult to not get something when you're really active and on the board. So just like Tanya did that shout out to her committee. If there's a committee that speaks to you, I invite you, I implore you to join that committee, get involved, because that's when you get the most out of something. And we are actually at the end of our scheduled programming. And what I'd love to ask you all, because Elizabeth spoke about some really wonderful things for next year, I'd love to take a moment to just have you put in the chat, what is one step that you're going to take during next year's NAWBO term? What is one thing, just one thing, the one big thing that you would like to have happen for you, your business? What are you going to contribute? What are you going to take away from? What are you going to learn? What are you going to get involved with NAWBO? So just take a few minutes to like put that in the chat and give us another big hand for everybody who showed up, for everybody who's serving, because you know it's not easy. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the board by watching. Thank you for bringing Jen Earl here from National to have here and to give her words of wisdom and to find out the history of NAWBO, which is amazing. And thank you, Elizabeth, for your service.